All right, so I had a couple people asking me what my trip to Mexico was like, about the fine details and some of the experiences and the stories I had when I went down there for a little over a week. Um, so instead of writing a big Facebook blog and a journal entry, I really suck at typing. I'm probably worse at talking, but I'm also lazy, so I figured that this would be the best course of action is to make a video. If you watch it, rock on. If you've got any questions, let me know. Don't even know what I'm going to talk about. Where do I begin? It was crazy. It was my first time ever leaving Canada. Never left Canada, obviously, like I just said, but I I would say that I'm decently well traveled. I mean, I fly everywhere. I've done a lot of air travel. I spent a lot of time in planes, helicopters, you name it. I've been to lots of airports, lots of different cities in Canada, inside, outside, tourist, not tourist, and so I'm decently versed in that area, but I've never left the country, so I didn't really know what to expect. Went by myself, just packed a bag, and let's go. As soon as I seen that lineup for the festival, I was pretty much sold. It was time to go. I just needed it in life in general, so it was just ideal timing for everything. So fucked off, made it to Cancun after 3 days of travel. I got stranded in Yellowknife overnight for a night. That sucked ass. It was super cold and I didn't bring any of my gear, so I couldn't even like go for a fucking walk to get a burger or something. Anyway, I'm not here to gripe. And so eventually made my way to Cancun. And yeah, it was like immediate. Like you walk out the airport and it's like ba bam, like fucking like people yelling, screaming, fucking cabs and shuttles, the whole nine, which is just a crazy experience in itself for any tourist, let alone someone who lives in fucking isolation for most of the year in the Arctic. So I'm just like, holy fuck. And everything was really overwhelming and super expensive right off the get go. People were charging all sorts of money for cabs and shit. So I just went to the fucking bus, and there was some people who were, to me, didn't really look touristy, and I was like, what are those dudes doing? Went over there, got a bus ticket for dirt cheap. It was like probably equated to like 20 bucks Canadian. Yeah, all the way to Tulum from Cancun. Threw my fucking luggage in there and boom, watched a couple Spanish movies on the bus. And it was dope. It was a sweet bus ride. Met a guy on the bus right off the hop. He was wearing a Metalhead's hat, so it was like super obvious where he was going. So we chatted. He was from the UK. It was super dope. I'm horrible with names, so of course I forget his name, but super cool guy. Yeah, and then made my way to Tulum. I mean, as soon as I got off the bus, it was immediate like culture shock to a certain degree. Like holy fuck, like like walking down the street. It was in the middle of town. There's a lot of like poverty. It's everywhere. You know, it's a weird fucking combination hybrid of poverty and an elaborate lifestyle, like tourist shit, and lots of garbage on the street. There's no fucking garbage cans anywhere. It was not tourist, but it was trying, you know. But anyway, like it was just like holy fuck, immediately right in the culture. Like it's not a tourist area when you get downtown off the bus. I tell you that much. Walked a good 6 blocks to get to my Airbnb. I didn't want a cab, and I didn't want to do any of that shit. I already, read into how a lot of tourists are being taken advantage of with cabs and shit. So I was like, nope, didn't do that, and just walked and hoofed it, and just paid attention and observed what was around me, which was just like, holy fuck, it was a trip. It was so different than anything I've ever experienced in many different cities. It was amazing. I loved it. Made my way to the Airbnb, no, without a hitch. Chilled out, went for a walk that evening. It was nothing. It was just a beautiful place. A lot of vibrant nightlife and music and partying and language, and it was awesome. Like I was immediately, I pretty much fell in love and was like, this is dope. I didn't feel unsafe. I didn't feel worried and nervous. I would have to say I'm not an easy target, But, you know, if I was an easy target, I would have to say Tulum is not the place for you to go if you're uncomfortable about fucking dealing with people trying to rip you off and shit like that. And I guess that kind of gets into the next point. So that night, the first night, they had a pre-party. So I walked over there. It was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 blocks from my Airbnb. Walked over there, partied with a bunch of people, met some cool folk. Left a bit early, walked by myself again, like in some shady areas for sure, but like didn't feel unsafe. Like it wasn't unsafe. I felt way more unsafe in some streets in Canada, including where I'm originally from, was like way more unsafe to me. It didn't feel bad. But of course, like super hyper observant, just watching everything that's going on, because I felt like the crime there was like sneaky almost too. It was fucked up, like pickpockets and stuff, right? So anyway, yeah, get back to the hotel, had a great night, and then day one of the festival. So day one of the festival, the first thing right off the hop, the first thing I had a fucking issue with was getting a SIM card. I ended up landing in Tulum and I had zero service. Boom, gone, nothing at all. So I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I can't even roam, which was my plan, was to just roam on my provider, but I couldn't do that. So I found some people who looked like they spoke English, and I'm like, yo, what do you, I see you have an iPhone and shit, how are you doing it? So I went to this, they have Telcel there for people who've never gone to Mexico and are planning it. I highly suggest to get a SIM card right off the hop. But shop around. It took me about 4 stores. I caught on really quick that I was being taxed an extra 150 peso as soon as I spoke English. A lot of people thought I spoke Spanish. Like in town, everywhere I went, everybody spoke Spanish right off the hop to me. Especially with my sunglasses on, I probably I fit in a little bit more than the average tourist did. Because there were some in there that they stood out. They were like classic fucking, ma and pa fucking tourists to the max. But so anyway, I found like caught on pretty quick. I was immediately taxed as soon as I spoke English. Like you could see the price list right in front of you. It was not hiding, and the data plans, but they would throw on an extra 150 peso, which is not a lot in conversion to Canadian dollars, but still, it's just the fucking morals of it. I don't want to be immediately fucking taken advantage of, so I was like, nah, fuck off. And then finally found a store where the lady was just legit. She was just like, here's what the price is, and that was that. So I paid, I can't remember, I think it was like $20 Canadian for 10 gigabytes of data while I was there, which is plenty for a couple weeks, that's for sure. So anyway, fucking where I was going. So for day one of the festival, first thing I encountered was taxi cabs. Holy fuck. These dudes, and this was just the tip of the ice. This was just the taste. They were trying to charge you like 600 peso plus like up to 800, all different random shit, just to get from, it would have been an hour walk, but like an 8-minute drive for real, right? Super fucking nothing, like you would pay, $5, whatever. But they're trying to charge like $40 American for this shit. So you have to go and like ask so many different cab drivers. So I kind of came up with my own scam, sadly. I would tell them that like to give me their number and shit, and I would call them for the rest of the weekend if they gave me a ride. And I did do it to some of them, but the other ones, the ones who were just dicks, I never even called them back. But it was my way of getting them to fucking lower their price because they thought I was gonna call them again. But a lot of them were like super, super hardcore. And I have to also say, prior to me traveling to Mexico, I used to watch a lot of videos and shit about people traveling and like bargaining and trying to get things for cheap, and I was like, fuck man, like that's ruthless. These people don't make much money. You can tell that there are some, they do make money because they're out there purely to scam you, purely to scam. If you're a decent judgment of character, you'll know who's out there to scam you, and those people, it didn't take long for me to be like, fuck those guys. I'm gonna fucking negotiate with you, and I'm gonna fucking lowball you, because they are truly trying to take advantage of you. But I met some really great ones. Like I had a couple guys on my WhatsApp which is another thing I highly suggest about getting WhatsApp. And I had them, for like 150 peso, 200 peso to the beach, where other people are telling you like, 800 peso. So anyway, day one of the festival, unfucking believable. I can't even get into the details. I don't know what to tell you. Like, the DJs, the caliber of DJs there, unfucking real. It was next level. The MCs, the everything. It was just, it's too much to even go into how crazy it was. You seen the lineup. If you're watching this, you already know what I went to, and that what you may have possibly missed out on, unfortunately. That lineup was insane. But, the venues, everything else, absolutely crazy. The promoters, once I did get down there, it was awesome. Super streamlined. Boom, boom, boom. Here's your QR code. Here's your bracelet. Whap, whap, whap. In the fucking doors, rocking out on the beach to some drum and bass music. And, yeah, everything was just without a hitch. It was amazing. So anyway, at the end of the first venue, which was about 11 p.m., they had shuttles that took everybody over to the next venue, which was this fucking amazing place. If you haven't checked my videos, I posted on Instagram. Amazing place in the middle of the jungle called Templo. Probably fucking the name of it, but Templo. And it was incredible. But anyway, they had these shuttles pick everybody up, and it was, again, like, flawless. I literally walked out of the first venue, walked into a lineup for a shuttle that was, like, 2 people in front of me. Boom, in the shuttle, wham. A lot of people cabbed. A lot of people walked. For whatever reason, they must have believed that the shuttles were full. I don't know, but I was, like, immediately in a shuttle. Get to the next venue, partied all fucking night. I believe, if I remember correct, lots of it's a blur already. Day one was Dom and Rollin'. Yes, it was. At the very end, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. Like, what? Fuck? Wasn't expecting to be up all night, and wasn't expecting the headliners to be playing at like 4 and 5 a.m. in the morning. That was fucked. But anyway, it was like, okay, let's rock it out. It was funny that day one, at the end, there wasn't a lot of people left, and the ones who were there were fucking hardcores. And hats off to so many of them, because I was looking around and so many of them were old school. Like, you could tell, fucking bones were creaking, people were stretching, fucking, but we fucking raved, man. Dom and Rollin' fucking shit on us so hard, and it was fucking incredible. I loved it. It was warm and fucking fantastic. Yeah, so anyway, the end of the night got fucking shady super quick. And this is me not knowing any of the stories, because there was a chat room that we all had, the festival attendees all had access to a chat room, and you could go in there and see all the stories that were happening. But of course, I'm partying on them, I'm not looking at the phone besides doing some videos and shit. And end of the night, boom, like, security immediately like swarmed me, and they're like, let's go, like, they wanted you out now. So I'm like, whoa, okay, cool. But it was the first time where I was like super uncomfortable. Like, these dudes got like aggressive and really fucked up really quick. And there was a lot of aggression in the air with the security all night. And we're immediately pushed out into this fucking parking lot. And, there's a handful of us there, and we're fucking stranded. Because the cab drivers were literally charging up to 150 American dollars to take all the festival people from that place in the jungle to back to town or to the beach or whatever, right? So it's like, holy fuck. So everybody's kind of scrambling, and of course, like, I'm solo as fuck. And of course, you know me, I'm not super fucking, hey, but I kind of am. Because it ended up in the best scenario ever. I had an angel looking over me, and her name is CC, and she's from the States, but she's Spanish, and she was standing outside of her car, and I just walked over there, and I'm like, hey, how's it going? I was like, you speak English? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, hey, I'm trying to get to town. And these cab drivers are charging more money than I fucking even have. I don't know what to do. Security's aggressive. Police are there. They're fucking sketchy. We'll get to in a bit. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. So she's like, oh, no worries. Like, I'm just trying to kill time. I can't get into my Airbnb. Now, there's a whole bunch of crazy shit going on with cabs and stuff if you pay attention to the news in Mexico, and especially around Tulum. Like, people are literally getting killed because of Ubers and all this kind of crazy shit. So it was a sketchy moment. It doesn't sound crazy like, oh, cab drivers. No, it was weird. There's like some fucking shady shit there, right? So anyway, she was kind of sketched out because she's like, fuck, I don't want them to see you get in my car. And then they're all sketchy. And I was kind of sketched for the same reason, but I was also sketched because there was a possibility that she was trying to set me up or some fucking shit. Because it was shady, trust me, it was fucked up. And then, so anyway, we just kind of sat and chatted for a bit, and it didn't take me long to know that she was like either the best actor or she was actually like a really sweet woman. So she had a buddy in the front seat, passed the fuck out hard. Buddy was rocked out hard. They came in from Playa or something that night. Or that it was early morning at that time. It was like 7 a.m., right? So, anyway, I jump in the back seat with her, and she gives me a ride back to town. And I'm trying to give her money, like whatever I had in my pocket, and she wouldn't take it. So, what a fucking angel. Cece, wow. What a stroke of luck, and just me out of all the group of people. Anyway, I get home, I'm super excited, pass the fuck out, I'm good. Wake up in the morning, and I check the chat. And it was fucking crazy. The stories were nuts. People were getting robbed by security, extorted by security. People were getting robbed by the police, straight up. The local police were robbing people. There was fake breathalyzer tests that were happening to people who don't even drink, that were rigged. And they'll pretend that you're drunk if you're driving a scooter or something. They'll tell you, like, they'll pretend that you blew over the breathalyzer, and they'll threaten to arrest you and put you in jail unless you give them money. And then people were paying, man. Like, I heard stories of people paying like 300, 400 American dollars to try to get away from the police because the police were extorting them. No joke. It was all in the chat, and it was crazy. So I'm like really counting my blessings at this point, because I'm like, holy fuck, like, thank God. But the people who were getting fucked were the people who ended up getting super stranded at the end of the night. And like some people ended up trying to walk, and they were getting robbed along the way, for real. Police pulling people over, the ones who brought scooters, or people who had bikes, and all sorts of crazy shit. And so anyway, it was super unsafe, and it was to the point where I literally, even myself, I was like, this is pretty fucked up. Like, it felt really unsafe at the end of the night, and I don't know, like, I don't think I can stay late like that again. I have to figure out a better game plan, and this really fucking ruins a lot of the festival, because a lot of the headliners were really late. Anyway. So just paying attention to the stories, and people are complaining, and a lot of people were literally not going back and everything. The promoters got on it immediately. They set up, because the biggest thing was a safety issue. Well, there were two things. Safety issue, and then also in the venue, drinks were fucking stupid expensive. You can't drink the water in Mexico, and they were charging us 150 pesos a bottle of water. That was like a little fucking jug of water. And I don't know what that equates to, like $7 Canadian or something. Like, it's a significant amount of money for a bottle of water, especially when you can't drink the tap water. And, you know, like, being a sober raver, what the fuck? And for someone who's not sober, even worse. You know what I mean? Like, you're dehydrated already. So anyway, that was a bummer. But the promoters got on it immediately. They immediately reached out to the staff at the venue. They got all new security in there. They ended up having water discounted price. It was like knocked down half price pretty much. They ended up getting shuttles to take people from the jungle venue back to either the beach or to town, and ran on rotation throughout from like 2 a.m. to close. Like, I was fucking astonished how fast the promoters got on it, and I felt horrible for them, because this just shit so out of their control, and it was like they had fucking cartel and police and everything against them. and they pulled through like fucking unbelievably. It was nuts. So immediately they made it safe. Now there was a lot of other stories that were going on too, with like there was fucking, as soon as you went into the bathroom, there was people standing outside selling you coke. Like, and these guys, there's not just a random drug dealer at events like this. These people are connected to the cartel, narco shit, guaranteed, hands down. And they're selling cocaine at in the bathroom. And what was happening to people for the most part, and I don't want to downplay anybody's experience, because a lot of people were extorted for no reason, but people were buying drugs from these fucking from these dealers, and then the dealers would go to security and tell them, and then security would go and shake these people down and take all their money and take everything from them, the drugs and everything, right? So it was a fucking racket there. But I'll blatantly say, like, there's some shit I don't feel bad about, some stories, you know? Like, if you're gonna go buy fucking cocaine from the cartel at a fucking festival in a shady place, like, and you get pinched by security, like, I'm sorry, I don't feel too bad for you. I smoke weed every day, and this is the longest break I've had, was 2 full weeks, and I didn't even fucking have a puff of weed, because I was just like, no. Like, with my luck, fucking one of these motherfuckers will, you know. And I'm happy I didn't. So the second night, that was my personal experience. So the second night, I was taking the shuttle from the first venue to the second venue. And we were rocking out, man. Fucking these guys I met, there were these local DJs, local drum and bass DJs from Mexico. They barely spoke English, but they knew enough to that we could talk, and it was fucking awesome. Shout out to them, man. Super dope dudes. They were called Underbreaks, I think, was their crew they had out there, but fuck, awesome dudes. And so anyway, we were chilling, and we got in, they found out, like, just through conversation, that I MC and shit, and we were inside the van, and they had the van Bluetooth hooked up, and they're getting me to fucking MC in the van, and people are tripping out, and the other people were all rocking out. It was the time. It was fun. And all of a sudden, fucking, there's red and blue lights. So we're like, oh shit, there's like a spot check. And typically the spot check, like, the shuttle drivers would just drive right through. But this, anyway, they stopped. So we're inside and whatever else and just chilling, and the fucking door opens up and there's a cop there, balaclava, full fucking assault rifle, and he just points right at me, like fucking boom, right at me, and he's like, outside. And then, like, the whole bus is just fucking crickets, and he's looking at me, and I look at him, and at first I kind of pretend like he's not talking to me, and then I look at him, he's pointing right at me, let's go outside. So everybody's tripping the fuck out. So I get out, and he's like, right away, he's like, drugs. Where's your drugs? I'm like, holy fuck, really? Nothing on me, like, not even weed, nothing. I had nothing on me. And so he fucking starts searching me, like, went into my underwear and everything straight up. My socks, basically strip searched me down. And I had nothing, but the whole time he's like, drugs. There was fucking 3 of them there, balaclavas and guns, like, all surrounding me, in front of me. And they were adamant I had something on me. And the one cop, I had 400 peso in my pocket. And he took it out, and he was holding it in his hand the whole time. He was shaking me down. And I was like, he's going to take my fucking money for sure. And then at the, like, right at the end, he was talking to the other guys in Spanish, and they were talking to each other, and then he kind of stopped searching, like they were gonna let me go or whatever, and I was like, peso, like, my peso, you know, like, I told whatever, like, kind of egged at him to give me my money, and he slipped his hand in my pocket and put it back. I was blown away. Because of the stories that I was hearing from other people. I was like, holy fuck, like, for sure I'm getting robbed by the cops, guaranteed. And the way they were shaking me down, like, it was aggressive. Like, that's what they were looking for, is some excuse to try to get your money, and as soon as they get it, boom, right? But I don't know what it was, but he put my money back in my pocket, and the other ones, like, they looked mad, and, like, it was tense as fuck. And then I jumped back inside the van. They pulled this other kid out who was sitting beside me. Shout out to him. I think he was from Toronto. And he actually had fucking drugs on him. But he was lucky because they were paying so much attention to me, they barely even fucking touched him. And he had it in his fucking shoe or some shit. What the fuck? So anyway, I was fucking angel for that dude right there, I tell you. But anyway, like, you know, it could have been worse. I didn't super feel like I was in super danger, but it was like, because there were so many people, you know, like fucking all the people in the shuttle bus, everything, like it would have, you know, but I was like, I can't make any sort of crazy move here, and it's fucked when it's the police. I've been robbed before, straight the fuck up, a few times, in Prince Albert and in Winnipeg, and like, it's a different feeling when it's the fucking cops, you know. But anyway, that was my only crazy experience, and everything besides that, like I said, the festival guys jumped on it immediately, took care of everything. It was crazy. This video is going to be an hour long now. Fuck, you signed up for a fucking shit show. But anyway, I'll, you know, kind of just jump on, like, again, the production, the sound, the everything, incredible. Besides dealing with a little bit of the fucking nitty gritty in that part of of Mexico, you know, people trying to extort and whatever. Besides that, I mean, it was amazing. Like, if that kind of shit bothers you, then yes, without question, do not go to Tulum. Like, you know, if that kind of shit bothers you or makes you really scared for real, then don't go. Like, you can go to Playa del Carmen or some other place in Mexico. Like, Playa was a fucking totally different experience. Not to say that Playa is not dangerous or whatever, but it was like fucking night and day. Because I went to Playa, so right after the festival, I went out, did the Chichen Itza temple. Can't even get into it. It was nuts. It was emotional. It was moving. It was fucking incredible experience. That matched with doing the cenote dip and shit, like, holy fuck. It was incredible. If you do go to Mexico, if you've never been and somehow you're watching this video because you have a boring life as well at this point in time, I highly suggest to go check it out. And I did the tourist thing. I felt like a butthole about it because I'm so not about that kind of shit. I fucking don't like that tourism industry very much. But it was so worth it, actually. I have no regret. The tour guide was amazing. I wish I would have brought more peso with me to give to him. But it was really amazing. They bring you to some really awesome places, tell you about the history. That in itself was just priceless. And it was cheap. I paid like fucking $80 Canadian for an all-inclusive like 3-day or 12-hour tour, pretty much. It was awesome. Fucking great fucking day. Went out there with a friend that I made out there, and fuck, what a day. Like, and on that note, like, meeting incredible people from all over the globe. Some amazing people from Canada and United States. The UK was obviously there heavy, from Australia, all over the place. And like, I would consider myself to be not a very approachable person, and I'm also super introverted, so it's extremely rare for me to go up to people. But I find the ones that have, like, the courage to do it, like, fuck, man, they're fucking awesome people. Like, I think that in itself just has something to say about them, that they just don't give a fuck about any of the other shit, appearances or any of that kind of stuff. Because I think people, anyway, without getting too deep into it, but met some amazing people. Fucking hell. Really awesome, and I'm happy to have them now in my life, and excited to see where those fucking friendships and relationships go, because fucking really awesome people. Anyway, yeah, so the festival itself, just incredible. Made my way to Playa, took the bus to Playa. Got an Airbnb in Playa and then walked the strip, and it was like I said, night and day from Tulum. Tulum, totally different experience than fucking what you see in Playa. I didn't do the beach area in Tulum, which is probably like Playa, the old touristy shit, but town of Tulum, very cultural. You're right in the fucking thick of it all. You know, like you're walking down the street and there's a fucking place where they're fixing their motorcycles, you know, like it's very like locals everywhere. No tourist shit. Then play a very Americanized type fucking experience. But it was cool. I still enjoyed it a lot. Very aggressive vendors trying to sell you all sorts of shit. Fucking, I got offered cocaine and fucking marijuana on the strip in fucking Playa more times than holy, I can't even count. I think the tattoos had a little to do with that because I was like, I don't think they're offering everybody this deal. It's like, you want to buy a t-shirt? No. You want a cocaine? Jesus Christ, I look like a cokehead, I guess. Hey, whatever, you know. But yeah, it was just nuts, and then ended up going out to the Soundset Beach Club, which was obviously right on the beach in Playa. What can you say? It was incredible, and the crew, it was great. It was a nice, intimate crew of a bunch of fucking Canadian ravers from all over the place. Basically coast to coast all the way up to the north, and linked up with some homies there that I've been talking to online. Shout out to Timbo and Elbow Kicking. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. Go out there and do some performing, and you know, a little bit of artistry, and meet some really cool and connect with some really cool people through that. Music is an incredible thing for that. It's amazing. Music has no barrier. There's no color, there's no race, there's nothing. There's a lot of culture behind music, yes, but the whole idea of sound and how it brings us together is something that will just never ever cease to amaze me. And being able to meet up with a whole bunch of really awesome people there in Playa was really dope. Big shout out to Run It Crew too out there, Broken Head from Calgary. They run it, man. They dropped it down. That was fucking dope. And then ending up emceeing at the end of the night as well with Say Less, which is actually like a house crew who've been throwing down some drum and bass, and I think after that night it's like straight up dark side now for those dudes, because the vibes are real up in there. We rocked the jungle out and it was great. Yeah, had it a really incredible night. It was the best way to top it off. And then the next morning made my way back to Cancun and started my 3-day adventure back up to the Arctic again. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I had a lot of fun by myself. Again, touring around with friends and meeting people was amazing to me. The talent, just vibing out on the dance floor, and then you just look over beside you and like groove riders dancing beside you, or like I'm standing in line and Dags fucking bumps into you. Like, that's dope. And that's drum and bass. You know, I've been to some badass concerts and I love some really amazing bands, and like you would never just see fucking Trent Reznor bumping it in the crowd like that, man. And to me, these guys are like this. There's no difference. These are celebrity status fucking drum and bass DJs vibing out in the crowd. London Electric, like what the fuck? Just chilling out with everybody. No fucking, the most humblest motherfuckers, man. Drum and bass. If you didn't fucking go this year and you're thinking about it at all, let's crew up next year for real. If you actually took the time to listen to this shit, then for real, you must be fam. Let's crew the fuck up next year. Go to LOCUS and fucking rock it out for real. It was incredible. That's my little bit of story. There's a lot more to it, but I won't take any more of your time. So, much love. Peace to you.